The Department of Energy released another 15 million barrels from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Independent analysts have
Come on, ladies and gentlemen. You love it when Peter Doocy versus Joe Biden. You love to see it. There's only one honest reporter at the White House with the brass and the spine to go at Joe Biden and ask him real questions. And Peter Doocy, by the way, gets blown up by the White House for asking Joe Biden real questions. And he did it today, and it was a thing of beauty. Welcome to our evening live, where we just take a clip from the day that we really liked and we break it down. We sometimes don't have the time to really get into the weeds, show all the memes, and show all the beauty of some of the work of the maestro that is Peter Doocy, at work at the White House asking real questions. It's typically Joe Biden or Karine Jean-Pierre or Chucky. We miss Peter Doocy versus Chucky. We should probably do a reunion tour where we play our favorite back and forths. But today, during an oil event where Joe Biden said that he's going to deplete America's natural resources and our strategic oil preserve in order to fix the election for himself. That's right, in order to make sure that Democrats have lower gas prices, because gas prices should be through the roof, and they are through the roof, actually, in most states. I just list California, $7 a gallon. Joe Biden is going to release literally more barrels of oil than any of the presidents, all the way leading to the creation of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Joe Biden sitting there somehow telling all Americans that this was a good thing and that he himself is the best president for fossil fuels. This is amazing. It's a guy who said he's going to end fossil fuels on the campaign trail. Here's what Joe Biden had to say today, and we'll get to the Peter Doocy question in 1 second because it is a spicy meatball.
Let's debunk some myths here. My administration has not stopped or slowed U.S. oil production. Quite the opposite. We're producing 12 million barrels of oil per day. And by the end of this year, we will be producing 1 million barrels a day, more than the day in which I took office.
Does that sound like correct to you? Does this sound like, do you think that this is like the most pro-oil administration in American history? I mean, I can remember a time when Joe Biden said he wants to end fossil fuels on the campaign trail. Danny is producing this live. Danny, get me those clips. Give me those clips. Joe Biden saying he wants to end fossil fuels. Joe Biden was unable to complete sentences during this announcement. He was unable to talk about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. He was unable to say words in the English language. But it was really this question from Peter Doocy that had us sending. Peter Doocy at the very, very end is able to shout a question. Joe Biden, of course, doesn't take questions. So Peter Doocy has to shout questions at the very end, and the response is gold, okay? Gold. I'm going to play you a zoomed in version of Joe Biden getting this question from Peter Doocy. Just absolutely spectacular stuff. Okay, and then we're going to play you the full response. Here's Joe Biden zoomed in. Watch his response to Peter Doocy asking an incredible question about inflation versus abortion.
Mr. President, can you help us out just really quick? What is your top domestic priority? Is it inflation or is it abortion?
Mr. President, are you going to tout this new law? Are you going
Joe Biden's like, I'm in danger. Here's the full response, leading to Joe Biden to snap at Peter Doocy and to wander the stage and to yell at him, essentially. So Joe Biden gets up from his chair and then walks over to Peter Doocy to yell at him, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is really, really incredible stuff. And Joe Biden was already having aneurysms during this speech. During this just prepared remarks about oil, Joe Biden was having aneurysms, literal snaps in his brain, and incapable of speaking the language of the nation for which he leads. Watch.
Because we need to get this moving now, quickly, now. It would take, if we do this, it would take historic clean energy investments that I signed into law and put them into action. In fact,
you can always tell that Joe Biden's in trouble when he does these kind of like, sometimes he goes like this with his nose. It's really gross. Sometimes he grabs his lip. At Queen Elizabeth's funeral, you could see him licking his thumb. We did a whole special on that. This is really, really scary stuff for Joe Biden. He knows things are going bad, and him snapping at Doocy is incredible. So Peter Doocy says, yo, what's your biggest domestic concern? Is it inflation? Or is it, I don't know, abortion? Because you seem to be doing a lot of events on abortion and no events on inflation, even though you passed the Inflation Reduction Act. And inflation skyrocketed after you did that. How do we know that our politicians and our government is lying to us? That's a good test. Do they call something the opposite of what it does? Joe Biden, of course, is exactly who he is and started to have a tantrum meltdown, senile moment on Peter Doocy. Check it out.
Top domestic issue, inflation or abortion?
All important. Unlike you, there's no one thing. It crosses the board. Domestic, ask me about foreign policy too. There's multiple issues, and they're all important. And so, and we ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You know that old expression. Thank you.
There are multiple, unlike you, which we will get to exactly how many times Peter Doocy is insulted by Joe Biden, including but not limited to him Peter Doocy being called a son of a bee. I'm not going to say it. Family-friendly show here by Joe Biden. Son of a bee. Joe Biden always starts his response to Peter Doocy by insulting him. Now, I remember when the press clutched their pearls, screamed, cried, whined, complained, sobbing, into turning them into puddles when Donald Trump would be like, you fake news, fake news. You know how sensitive the White House is? They cut the feed. That's right. The White House cut the feed when they heard Peter Doocy's question. Watch this. Speaking about a White House that defends the First Amendment, watch this. This is from the White House feed, clipped directly. The White House turns Peter Doocy off.
What is your top domestic priority? Is it inflation or is it abortion?
Mr. President, are you going to tout this new law?
Thank you, President.
Are you going to tout this new law in Georgia? Thank you all.
They cut the feed. The White House also cut the feed. CNBC, Bloomberg. We counted the people who heard Peter Doocy's question, and then they cut him off. But nobody's watching the White House feed. This is not the most popular president in American history. They've lied to you again. People are watching Fox News, and here's what Peter Doocy had to say about it on
Something
Fox.
that I've been wondering about for a couple days now. What is the top of the presidential agenda when he comes into work every morning and opens up his notebook? We had been told back in May his top domestic issue was inflation, but now he's saying that if Democrats maintain control of Congress, the first bill is going to be abortion related. So have a look.
Verify for midterm voters, top domestic issue, inflation or abortion?
All important. Unlike you, there's no one thing. It crosses the board. Domestic, ask me about foreign policy too. There's multiple issues, and they're all important. And so, and we ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
President Biden announced today that by December, he's going to release an additional 15 million barrels of oil out of the strategic petroleum reserves. They're going to then buy it back once the prices go down to around $70 a barrel. And they are blaming this problem in the first place, this high gas price issue, on both Vladimir Putin and profit-hungry oil companies.
Got it. Okay, blaming your failures and the disaster that you created on people that have literally nothing to do with your decisions. Did Vladimir Putin cancel the Keystone XL pipeline? Did oil companies decide to not lease any federal land for oil and domestic production? You know that America right now, off our shores and on our shores, so off the shores of Alaska, Florida, and Texas, and inside of the domestic mainland America, in Texas alone, the largest oil preserve exists in the world. Here, right now, in Texas. They can't get to it because of Joe Biden. Same thing off the coast of Alaska. Same thing in Anwar. Joe Biden stopped the production of that, and it's not even American production. He stopped the production of oil in Canada by killing the Keystone XL pipeline. So Joe Biden is to blame 100% for this, and it doesn't matter how many people he calls names to, including but not limited to Peter Doocy. Every time Peter Doocy asks him a question about inflation, Joe Biden snaps and has a spasm. You remember when he called Peter Doocy a stupid son of a bitch? Peter Doocy's mom was not available for comment.
What do you think President on inflation? Do you think inflation is a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Sorry to swear. Try not to swear on this show. But I guess I'm literally quoting Mr. Most Popular President in American history. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Well, a man who could certainly be president someday, Ron DeSavage, of course, had this to say when a reporter asked him a question right after that, a golden clip that our team dug up. Danny DeUrbina producing our show tonight. But go ahead and kick Danny a follow on Twitter. You can find him at Danny DeUrbina. A lot of great breaking news on Danny's account. Check out how Ron DeSavage responded after Joe Biden called a Fox reporter a son of a bee.
Well, Mike, I don't know if I'm supposed to call you Mike or some SOB. How's it work now? What's the, Mike, I like that better. Well, we're going to.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's making light of the issue. But again, if Ron DeSantis had done that, there's a great moment when Joe Biden said, man, what did he say? He's like, I got 2 words for you. Build back better. I can't remember. Danny or Jerry, who are helping me do the show tonight, what? He's like, I have 3 words for you. Build back better. And then Lauren Boebert went and trolled Joe Biden by tweeting, hey, 2 words for you. Let's go, Brandon. And the liberal Twitter, blue checkmark Twitter went crazy. Degenerate blue checkmark Twitter turned into a salty puddle because of this. And what she was doing was trolling Joe Biden, who I guess we have the clip right now, actually. Danny, let's load that up. Joe Biden said, let me start off by saying 2 words. Made in America. Got it.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America. Made in America.
Lauren Boebert then trolled Joe Biden by saying, let me say 2 words. Let's go, Brandon. And blue checkmark Twitter had a seizure. They had an aneurysm over that, over her trolling Joe Biden, just showing you exactly how blind, drooling, senile, and bootlicking these people are. They are indeed apparatchiks. It is pathetic watching them attempt to serve this decaying and dying regime. Karine Jean-Pierre was certainly not rid of Peter Doocy. They could try and cut the White House live feed, but they ain't going to cut this question for Peter Doocy today at the White House, where he went and burrowed down and got to the core of the issue. The Democrats could give a damn about your pocketbook, about inflation, about the crippling economy that they have provided for American families, which polling shows consistently, again and again and again and again, polling shows that this is the number 1 issue for Americans. It is abundantly clear that this is the only issue that Americans care about, is the collapsing economy. And yet Democrats are obsessed about abortion. They've gone all in on abortion. Karine Jean-Pierre getting hammered today.
Thank you, Karine. Following up on something you said earlier, if President Biden's top domestic priority is inflation, why doesn't he have more to show for it?
So the president understands, and we've talked about this many times, that inflation is an issue, high cost. Cost is an issue for the American people. And so he's been very clear about making that his number 1 economic priority. And he has done the work. And he's done the work with congressional Democrats. When you think about the Inflation Reduction Act, which is going to lower the cost for our seniors, millions and millions of seniors across the country. When you think about that $2,000 cap on their own Medicare prescription, when you think about the thousands of dollars that our seniors pay a month, now that's going to be $2,000 a year. That is the work that congressional Democrats and congressional Democrats and the president has done. Republicans did not vote for that at all. And what Republicans want to do is that they want to repeal that very historic piece of legislation that is also going to lower energy costs, that is also going to help fight climate change. They want to get rid of it. So there is a contrast that we are going to make, which is how Republicans are actually going to make things worse, and Democrats want to do the opposite and make things a little easier. I just talked about the hearing aids.
Dear God, what did we do to deserve this? What did we do? How have we upset you? Or actually, how have we pleased you, Lord? Because we don't deserve people like Karine Jean-Pierre. You can't get salad shooters that are being sold on access cable networks that shoot poorer salads than that which is shot out of the mouth of Karine Jean-Pierre. Yeah, Peter Doocy's like, so what you doing to fix inflation? Inflation Reduction Act didn't do it. So what you gonna do? And Karine Jean-Pierre, we don't know what you speak of because of hearing aids. It's really good. Don't forget what these people said. Don't forget that they are promising to do to you exactly what they promised to do to you on the campaign trail. You can't forget it. You can't. We won't let them. The reason your gasoline prices are where they are and why they're going to get way worse. I mean, wait till you get $10 gasoline. It's going to happen. It's happening right now. It should be happening right now. The reason the inflation number isn't at 16% CPI is because Joe Biden continues to deplete our strategic petroleum reserves and to make this country weaker militarily than he already has done. The reason that Joe Biden is doing this is because it's all part of the plan. Joe Biden is all part of the plan. Joe Biden knows what he's doing. Joe Biden knows he is doing it by design. They want to cripple your ability to access easy and clean and affordable energy. And they want to do it in order to kneecap you and to destroy your life. Joe Biden ran on this. He straight up said it out of his face hole. He may not want you to remember it now because it's a midterm election cycle, but we won't let him forget Pepperidge Farm remembers. The Benny Show remembers.
Have a transition from the oil industry, yes, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy. We have to move toward a net zero emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production. But let me make it clear, I'm not shutting down oil fields. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period. Ends. The oil industry is not going to go away. Look in my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel. Natural gas industry and oil is not going to be fundamentally changed.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated. People are not going to lose their jobs.
Would you be willing to sacrifice thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of blue-collar workers in the interest of transitioning to that greener economy?
The answer is yes. We're not going to get rid of fossil fuels. Learn how to program, for God's sake.
Learn how to program, for God's sake. Just take your oil job and learn how to program, for God's sake. Let the girls code. Let them code. This is a segment we call The More You Joe, because we're going to remind you who Joe Biden is. We're not going to let them run from what they've done, and we've even made a graphic for it. The More You Joe.
Come on, man.
You like it? You like our The More You Joe graphic? We're not going to let him run from it. He says they're going to end fossil fuels. I'm going to end fossil fuels. If you have a blue-collar job, learn how to code. Plebe, slave, cretin, urchin, learn how to code. Why would you have a job inside of an industry that has been the backbone of the creation of the greatest nation and the most powerful nation on earth? You know, the industry that powers our aircraft carriers, our tanks, our jets, our entire economy, every single item that you own and have, everything, your cell phone, to the lib who's out there screaming in a megaphone to end fossil fuels. Where do you think that megaphone is? That megaphone is a petroleum product, you idiot. You're holding your frappe from Starbucks. What do you think that cup's made of? It's a petroleum product. What do you think plastics come from, you moron? These are all petroleum products. All of it. Your belt, your shirt, your shoes. What do you think comes from, where do you think the energy comes from that powers your Tesla? 60% of all power plants in America are coal-powered. It's a coal-powered car. It's not an electric vehicle. It's a coal-powered vehicle. You dunce. Wow. And you know what? Such a good question by Peter Doocy, because Democrats are obsessed with abortion. They are a death cult. They hate humanity. Their goal is not to make humanity better for America. It's to make less Americans. That's the purpose of the Democrat Party. They want less Americans. And they always have. They've been eugenicists. They've been KKK members. They passed Dred Scott. They cheered for segregation. They cheered for slavery. The Democrat Party is evil. And their mouthpieces today are as malevolent and as death culty as anyone else. And you got to ask about these people. So election denier Stacey Abrams, who is still apparently the governor of Georgia and the Queen of England, too. She heard that seat was open. She had this to say today about abortions and about inflation. Again, Peter Doocy's question is perfect here, because this is what Democrats are saying on the stump. Hey, if inflation's bad, how about we make less people?
I just asked you. You're running for governor of Georgia. I would assume, maybe incorrectly, but while abortion is an issue, it nowhere reaches the level of interest of voters in terms of the cost of gas, food, bread, milk, things like that. What can a governor, what could you do as governor to alleviate the concerns of Georgia voters about those livability, daily, hourly issues that they're confronted with?
But let's be clear. Having children is why you're worried about your price for gas. It's why you're concerned about how much food costs. For women, this is not a reductive issue. You can't divorce being forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy from the economic realities of having a child. And so it's important for us to have both and conversations. We don't have the luxury of reducing it or separating them out, but we also have to talk about what a governor can do.
You are a vile death cult member. You are a eugenicist. You worship child sacrifice. You worship death. You prance around the statue of Moloch with fire burning in your eyes. You sick, evil, debased, dehumanizing urchin. You are a villain. You are a villain. It stuns the soul how much the Democrat Party is the party of death and the celebration of it. Well, lives for Americans suck right now, so our solution is less Americans? That's the bumper sticker. That's where they're going. Where are we going as a party? Well, we will end with a very, very positive clip for you. Some polling from MSNBC. See if you can slurp up the delicious tears that are being sobbed through the television as MSNBC reads the latest poll.
And we've talked so much all year about the economy and inflation being important issues. How about this? This is a New York Times poll, brand new here, asking voters what's the top issue on your mind this election. I haven't seen it this dramatic in a poll. Add the economy and inflation together. That is 44%. We're getting close to half of all respondents in this poll saying that's their top issue. Nothing else even cracks 10% right now. And we've talked about the Republicans, when it comes to the economy and inflation, having a pretty clear advantage in the polls.
And that brings us to the next.
Look at that. You see abortion there at like 4%. Is that what it was? Like abortion is slogging around in like the low single digits. Yet the Democrats are. Joe Biden did an event talking about Roe v. Wade yesterday. Evil, syphilitic, old poltergeist. Sick, demonic stuff Joe Biden said yesterday on stage. Talking about how taking abortion off the table for women is hurting the women in his family. That's what you've come. You've gone from safe, legal, and rare to I want all my grandkids to have abortions. You got to ask yourself at some point, Hans, we got skulls on our caps. Are we the baddie?
I don't. Hans, are we the baddies?
We got skulls on our cap, Hans. Are we the baddies? Are we the baddies, Hans? We got skulls on our caps. Yeah, the Democrat Party is destroying itself. And good. Most cults do. And most cults do because their members get so extreme that people, just kind of say, I'm going to get out of this thing. Or they, just quite frankly, what can you say? They just implode. All right. Various cults go various different ways, but the Democrat Party is truly imploding right now. As MSNBC and Steve Kornacki said there, the things that Americans care about are inflation and the economy, and Republicans are completely in charge there. The Democrat Party is destroying itself. They are the baddies. They got skulls on their caps. Don't be a lib, man. Not a good look. My name is Benny Johnson. This has been our special evening edition rant on The Benny Show. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and please like the page and please share this everywhere. Be the notification. We thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow morning.